Okay, so Chicago Bears starting quarterback Justin Fields is in a little bit of hot water with some people after comments made on the Pardon My Take podcast earlier this week, talking about his home field in Chicago and what it's like playing there. Let's have a listen.
Weather, being a guy from the South, I find that it would probably be difficult to adjust to it.
Say yes.
Yes, it is very difficult to adjust to it, especially with the wind. That's what I found out. That's what it's all about is the wind. You know, it can be cold, it can be 10 degrees. With no wind, you're fine. But with that 15-mile-per-hour wind, 20-mile-per-hour wind, I mean, you can't fight it. It's tough.
There's something to be said, I think, about your physical running style. You're a big dude. You're strong. Playing in that type of weather, you inflict more pain on them than they do on you.
The thing is about that weather is when it's that cold, you have to bundle up, put a bunch of layers on and stuff like that, and your body's cold, so you're not warmed up. So I feel way slower in that cold weather, so it's tough. Ooh. But yeah, I mean, you of course want to try to stay warm on the sideline and stuff like that, but I mean, it's hard to stay warm in that weather. Warm-ups and stuff like that, your hands freezing up, so it's tough.
So I could not be disapproving of these comments anymore. I mean, good God, you cannot say these things as the starting quarterback. You're the Chicago Bears. It is supposed to be an edge. You got to come in. You got to play in this cold weather. It's an edge for us. If you look at the great quarterbacks, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, they all talk about loving playing in the cold. It's a mental edge.
It's for sure. A lot of it is in your mind. It's the saying mind over matter, I think, definitely does apply when it gets really, really cold, because there's some things you can do that don't help.
This is beautiful. This is beautiful. Maybe I can spin it in anything. I can spin it in anything.
You cannot be saying this as the starting quarterback for the Bears. Dude, you're giving guys edges, saying they're going to be up in your head now. You're talking about how you're slower, you got to layer up, you don't like the cold, we don't like the wind. Look, I know it's miserable in Chicago. It's the windy city for a reason. But you cannot be giving people any sort of advantage. And now, if I'm the GM of the Chicago Bear, Ryan Poles, I am seriously considering trading Justin Fields after comments like this. These are not great. I mean, it comes on the hills. They're talking about getting a new stadium. They just acquired the new land in Arlington Heights for $197 million. But the problem with this new stadium, it's not even a dome in concept. It's an open-aired stadium. I mean, they're still going to be cold. It's still going to be windy. It's really not going to help too much if that's the deal they go with. But man, it's just such a bad look as the starting quarterback to be saying stuff like this. You got to be like, yeah, I love the cold. I feast on the cold. You got to make people think you're a little bit crazy, honestly. You cannot say this. And Justin, look, you had a kind of a breakout season this past season. You were fantastic running the ball athletically. But as a passer as a whole, you really haven't been good. And we talk about having a big arm, him being a big arm quarterback. But man, 60% completion, threw for 2,200 yards, rushed for 1,100, so about 3,300 yards on the season. Pretty good. 25 touchdowns, 13 turnovers. That's pretty good. Now, you could say the Bears didn't have any help or anything around him, and that's true, but still, he made some bad decisions passing the football. He did not look good down the stretch in some of those bad weather games, and he missed a couple of games due to injury, and that's a problem with these kind of quarterbacks. We are seeing how fragile they are. Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts even got an injury, and he's built like a Mack truck. He ain't a slender guy like Justin Fields, and I just don't like him talking about stuff like this. I mean, he played at Ohio State. That's a cold weather school, man. You can't be saying this kind of stuff. But maybe Justin will get dealt. I mean, the Bears are at a very interesting spot here. They have the number 1 overall pick. There's 3 quarterbacks out there that everyone's kind of talking about, trying to go over, but I'm not really blown away by any of these 3 quarterbacks. And Justin Fields' trade value is super, super high. Your team is really not that good all around. You boneheadedly traded away your 2nd round pick, the 32nd overall pick, for Chase Claypool. That was a horrible decision. So you really need to add picks. You really need to add pieces. Now, you could slide back to 4 with Indianapolis, and maybe they give you something to come up to 1. They give you a bunch, but it's not going to be a crazy amount sliding up 3 spots. It's going to be a good haul. But if you were to send Justin Fields to Indianapolis, you could get the 4th overall pick, have the 1st overall pick, trade that 1st overall pick. So we could be looking at 3-4 first overall picks this year and next year, and a lot of 2nd round picks. This team is in a complete rebuild. They don't have much of anything. I'd seriously consider moving on from Justin Fields. I don't love the comments. I question his leadership kind of. I don't think he's that dude. He does not have that dude mentality. He's kind of a quiet, off-color guy. Didn't do a whole lot of winning at Ohio State with the amount of talent he had. Didn't get them a national championship, which is kind of a letdown, honestly. If you're really thinking about it, Ohio State fans, big letdown. So I'm kind of off. I think the jury is out on him. He very well could be an elite quarterback in this league, but I'm not completely sold on him, especially as a passer. But man, it's these kind of comments that just do not sit well with me. I'd ship him out of town. I'd get some picks, get Indy at 4, Carolina at 9, maybe Atlanta at 8. The Falcons had a pretty good team minus quarterback. So if the Falcons give you 8 for Justin Fields and a 3rd round pick or a 2nd round pick next year, that's a pretty good haul right there, and you can use that to completely rebuild this team. Now, the question is, how much leash is the head coach and the GM going to have if they are bad again next year and bad the year after that? Maybe try and take one of those top quarterbacks coming out in 2024, because everyone is much higher on the quarterbacks in 2024 than they are in 2023. So maybe you don't take a quarterback this year and you tank again next year and really start the rebuild. It's a very risky priority because you just don't know how bad you're going to be next year. I mean, I love Bryce Young. He's just a little small, another small guy. Not sure he'd fit great in that terrible Chicago weather. Not super high on CJ Stroud or Will Levis. I think they'll be okay, but I think they need some talent around them. I just think this is a very awkward situation. I am not a fan of any sort of this stuff whatsoever. If I'm Chicago, I'd seriously consider trading him after this and going full rebuild. Hope you're bad next year. Actually, make sure you're bad next year. Do not have a quarterback. Be terrible. Draft one of those top guys. Love Caleb Williams coming out next year. And I mean, you just got to do it, Chicago. I would be moving off of him right now, but that's just me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Am I way overplaying these comments? Is this a bad move by Justin Fields to just even talk about this? Just lie, my guy. Just lie. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do the Bears stay put at 1? Do they trade him and draft a quarterback this year? Like this video. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Share this video with your friends, and I'll see you all tomorrow.